A lot of points there to get from Mr. Mittal, and we'll discuss some of those and a whole lot more with the Chief Executive Officer of Financial Derivatives Company, Mr. Bismarck Irani, joins us virtually from Victoria Island. Mr. Irani, good morning, and thank you for your time this morning.
Good morning, Lily.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we can say enough about the floating exchange rates, which unification of rates, which the president announced and now subsequently saw a statement from the CBN. And that's one of the things that the chairman of Bharti Airtel also talked about, and the impact it would have on businesses. And let's talk, from the commodities point of view, what changes can we expect following this change in policy?
I think first and foremost, let us understand something. Yesterday, for the first time in 15 years, the rate of exchange at the official market in Naira was weaker at the official market than in the parallel market. In other words, the Naira closed at 770 Naira in the official market INE window, while it traded at 757 Naira in the parallel market. So it was even cheaper for you to buy dollars in the parallel market and sell it into the official market. The last time this happened was in 2008, many years ago, 15 years ago. So that tells you that the markets are working. Secondly, there's a big difference between convergence and unification. What you saw yesterday was unification. As a matter of fact, the Naira became much stronger in the parallel market, free market, than in the official market. So that's the first indication. Secondly, because there's a problem of supply, what happened the day before yesterday was to allow people to deposit money into their domiciliary accounts and take it out. So initial reaction was the Naira appreciated because there was supply. There was perception that there would be supply. But what has actually happened is that there is still a problem with oil revenues in Nigeria coming into the official kitty. And therefore, you will see that the market will begin to oscillate around a fee floating rate. And that does two things. One, it makes people realize that dollars are available. Two, that you can get it and it reduces the restrictions and the rationing for that matter. So at that point, we have a unified market, an efficient market, and it will begin to make commodities actually cheaper, and the commodities that have import content cheaper as time goes on. And what will happen is that the true commodity price, for example, the price of wheat has increased, then you will see the price of wheat in Nigeria increase. The price of gas has reduced in Ukraine, you will see the price of gas in Nigeria begin to decline. So Nigeria will become part of the universal and global markets, and that is good for investors, and that is good for the markets. I think that is the reality.
All right, but you just said now about the parallel markets, the INE window. That means these windows still exist. One would have thought that with, the effort and the pronouncement of unifying the rates, that everything will be merged into one.
No, there's no magic wand in markets. Even in Europe, the rate of exchange you have for your dollars at Heathrow Airport is different from the rate of exchange you get for your dollars when you get to Oxford Street and when you get to the bank. As long as the difference between one and the other is not beyond 2 or 3%, that what we call the comfort zone, there's no problem. There's nothing like a unified, perfect market in the world. It's as close as possible to having an efficient market hypothesis. That is precisely what is happening, and you will continue to get there. And because commodity markets and money markets and foreign exchange markets are volatile, the rates will begin to change every minute. What was an efficient rate at 8 o'clock will not be an efficient rate at 2 minutes after 8 because the fundamentals have changed. So let us not start having a crisis of false expectation where we think that there's this perfect utopian world where there's one rate and everything, is is exactly what it will be. There's no ideal market in this situation.
All right, and we'll see some of this also reflecting in commodities. For instance, that the new foreign exchange rate policy will result in higher cocoa production. How so?
Okay, let me explain that to you. Typically, what happens is that You buy a country's currency to buy its commodities. If the naira is cheaper, it means that the demand for Nigerian products, where we have a competitive advantage like cocoa, will be higher because, technically speaking, Nigerian cocoa will be cheaper than that of Ivory Coast, where there's a fixed exchange rate with the euro. So if I'm a trader, global trader, I would rather buy cocoa as long as the quality is all right from Nigeria. So what the Wall Street Journal was alluding to was that because the naira is going to be a free-floating rate and there are no restrictions for the use and repatriation of the currency, the Nigerian cocoa will become relatively cheaper and more efficiently priced than its neighbors. Don't forget that Nigeria has gone from number 3 cocoa producing country in the world to number 5. Even Cameroon has overtaken us. What I see happening because of this price efficiency, I see that Nigeria's exports, especially cocoa, cashew, soybean, and others, are going to be much more attractive, and that is exactly what leads to diversification of an economy, rather than orders and all of that like we had in the past under the old dispensation.
Yeah, but I mean that can only be efficient and impactful if supply also increases. If farmers are still not returning to the farm, production has not increased, then we might as well have a good price but no products to sell.
No, that's not how it works. Every supply creates its own demand. How it works is that because there's a demand for Nigerian cocoa, the farmer will get a higher price in naira terms and will go back to the farmer. And that is only one source. You have your oil revenue, you have your LNG revenue, you have your soybean revenue, you have your exporters, you have your diaspora flows that come in, you have your musicians that are performing overseas and repatriating their money, you have footballers, you have doctors in Saudi Arabia. All of these flows, the invisible flows that are coming to Nigeria, in some years are higher than what you get from trade flows. So as we go along and the market and the restrictions are removed, as you can see, all these Aboki effects and all that things, when those things which have now disappeared, you'll find that you are now beginning to get to a market just like every other market in the world. And the Nigerian naira will be as competitive as any other currency based on two things. One, the rates of interest in Nigeria, the rates of inflation, and the rates of productivity and growth in the country. That's what Bati Etta was talking about. That's what MTN is talking about. That's what Dangote is talking about. That's what everybody is talking about. Just remove the restrictions and let us actually begin to produce according to our God-given ability.
All right, Mr. Orani, thank you so much for giving us highlights on that, on the commodities and the impacts that this new policy will have on it. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.